Hey, everybody. It's Judy and Susan from True Lifestyles. Hi, Susan.
Hey, hey, Judy. Hey, everyone.
Thanks for being here. And I don't know where the extra guest, Greg Harley Davidson, is because he said he was going to be on. So hopefully he gets stuff working on his end. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's um,
yeah. So how have you been? I mean, this
oh,
trial took over our lives for a while.
absolutely. I was glad to actually meet Harley in the courtroom because every trial I've gone to, I've heard that he's been there and he's been a frequent commenter in everyone's live chats. Yours,
Mhm.
mentor, surviving the survivor, and I finally got to meet him because you were trying to point me out to him. So
Oh,
that was
okay, here he is.
okay.
Okay,
Sorry,
he showed up.
Judy. I'm so
Hi,
sorry.
Hi.
that's
Hey,
okay. We started late. So how are you doing?
I'm fine. I was in the studio. I was expecting for you to add me. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
We're good
because
to
I
go
didn't
now, though.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
notice you until just like a second ago. So anyway, we're just talking about life after the Donna Adelson trial. So how have you been? Are you stressed out with other things?
Yeah, yeah. Just life. You know how that goes. My mother uh, had a health issue, so that's what we've been dealing with. So,
Mhm.
Same,
yeah.
same. If you see my latest community post, I post a little bit about my mom's not doing very well either. So she loves
Oh.
everyone's prayers, and I like to read her the comments. So thank you all for those thoughts. So Harley, I hope she's okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty much dealing with the identical
Yeah,
thing as you
yeah.
are.
So
So,
you understand.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'll have to see your community post then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Harley, you were still able to go to the trial for at least what, the first week? Is that
I was
right?
actually there the second week
Mhm,
um, after jury selection.
mhm.
So a lot of wiretaps. Uh, Basically, listened to a week of wiretaps. So that was kind of slow when I was there.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I was there during the same time. And did you guys kind of feel like a an adrenaline surge while you were there and then kind of a fatigue post trial? I'm sure Judy, you're used to that and being in the
Well, well, I felt like I had ignored so many things that by the time I got back from Tallahassee, it's like, oh Lord, there's all this work to do for my real clients, and the house is a mess. There's laundry to be done, stuff needs to be vacuumed and dusted, and all sorts of bills have to be paid. So yeah, a lot of stuff backed up. But it was still pretty exciting though, because
Mhm.
I don't know how you guys felt, but I was like so happy and excited, and also still a little sad because ultimately Dan Markel, he's still deceased, and his whole family is continuing to suffer despite the conviction.
There's a huge hangover. I would kind
Mhm.
of describe that feeling like a jubilation that Don is found guilty. But like we've been building up to this for some of us so many years.
Mhm.
However many years you guys have been following it. For me, almost 7 years, almost.
Mhm.
And then it's like a marathon. You just need to like kind of relax after. And I'm sure that the state attorney's office feels the same way. The prosecutors probably need time to just regather their strength and case against Wendy or Harvey, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully Wendy will be next. Yeah. So, Harley, what were your big observations when you were there in person?
Um, well, one thing I will say is if you ever go to Lee County or Leon County Courthouse, bring one of these. This is like a pad that
Oh,
I think
Yeah.
gardeners use.
yeah,
Those,
yeah.
my
Mhm,
gosh, those
Yeah.
benches were the worst after about 30 minutes. That they were painful actually. But
mhm,
yeah, being there in the courtroom, it was kind of hard for me to hear the speakers are directed, I believe, towards the front of the courtroom, so it's almost like an echo when you're in the gallery. But I was there, like I said, mostly for the wiretaps, and it was those were just long days, but it was really nice getting to see all the YouTubers and everybody that, you know, we keep up with on a regular basis, and actually see everyone in person. I'm sorry I didn't get to see you this time, but like I said, I had the things back home come up, and it's just kind of a feeling that I needed to be there at home rather than, you know, down in Tallahassee. So
Yeah, that's more important.
Understood. Understood. Yeah, I think you know, 3 or 4 days, I felt like I got the gist of who the jurors were, and got to see Wendy. And you know, it's funny, like I would leave in the middle of the day, and then I missed Rob Adelson, I missed Catherine McVanua. They pulled them on so quickly. But Judy, who did you see that was amazing? You saw Donna's friends.
Well, I saw Donna's friends. That's what I really remember, because I was like, are you kidding me? Like, they just seemed so annoying and sort of shady, dishonest, and full of themselves, especially when that guy said au contraire. I was like, what the heck did you just say? Who says that? That was so pompous. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think back, because it kind of blurs in my head what I saw on YouTube versus what I was there in person for. But I totally agree with what Harley just said, that actually it's not that much fun to be there in person, because it was so uncomfortable the first time that I was there in person. I think that was when I was behind Harvey. So people kept telling me later, hey, we saw you behind Harvey. And can you believe there's some obnoxious commenter who was criticizing me and saying that I deliberately sat myself down behind Harvey because I was like an attention hog or something. I'm like, are you kidding me? I didn't want to sit there. I didn't want people staring at me. It was embarrassing, and I looked horrible on camera.
Yeah.
I had no makeup on. I was sleep deprived, looked like crap. Yeah, the reason I sat there was because I was trying to sit with my roommate, Patty, but where she was sitting, there was some trial watcher who was kind of sitting more in the middle of the bench. So I asked, can you move down a little? And she was polite, but she didn't want to move because she didn't want to lose her prime view of whatever she wanted to look at. So I was like, okay. So I turned, and the next place to sit was behind Harvey. So I was squashed between this like ridge on the edge of the bench, plus this man that came over to sit next to me. So I was practically side hugging this strange man who was like smashed into me for like an hour. So it was very, very uncomfortable. And once again, like you said, it was kind of hard to hear sometimes, especially when I couldn't sit as far forward. So, you know, I mean, it's cool to see the jury, though. And just to be there in person and see people in real life, that was really cool. So,
well, one of the funniest things I saw, I guess, when I can't remember if it was Wednesday or Thursday, but it was during one of the wiretaps. Harvey was implicated in making a phone call or receiving a phone call from Sigfredo. Of course, that's when Sigfredo, I guess, you know, had meant to call Charlie and actually called Harvey, but they showed a picture on the monitor of Harvey. I assume it was his driver's license photo, and it popped up, and Harvey was sitting like 3 feet behind it, and I could see the jury look at the monitor that they were, and then look at Harvey, and I think that's when they made the connection. But
they did notice that. I noticed that.
It was funny that
and then they verified that on STS, I believe. The young law student guy, he said he noticed about the second day, and then Sprinkler Man said he noticed about the second day, and I asked Sprinkler Man if he was looking at Donna I asked him in the STS chat, and he said he was staring Donna down at first to see her reaction. So those are things I noticed and then validated through the chats when they were interviewed. It was interesting.
Yeah, that was just an
To see-
awkward moment for Harvey, that his face is right there in the monitor for the whole courtroom, and he's 3 feet
Yeah,
away
he's
from
just
it.
sitting right there.
Yeah,
Yes, serves him right. No wonder he looked so grumpy the whole time, because everybody's staring at him.
I know.
But can we back up a little, because
Sure.
some people probably don't know who Harley is. So do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Oh yeah, I'm from Mississippi, not too far away from Tallahassee, and I was in my first year of law school, and Mississippi College School of Law, and my crim law class, I was just having trouble catching on. I just wasn't getting it. So I went to YouTube and Google and looked up Harvard, which typically has some of the best professors. I looked up Harvard crim law professor tips, and I came across Dan Markell, and that's how I got latched on to the case, I guess 6 or 7 years ago. And just, started following. And then I decided, well, hey, I want to go down to the trial and see all this, in real life. And so I attended Charlie's trial. I guess that was 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Almost.
Yeah, 2 years ago, 2023.
Right. And then I was ready to go to Donna's trial the September of last year. And of course that got postponed. But anyhow, so I'm retired Army. I got in the Army in 1996. So I spent my younger days doing that. And so anyway, I did 1 year of law school, and I've got to go back and finish the next 2 years. And it's kind of wild how this has happened. I started following the Dan Markell murder trials to kind of enhance my criminal law knowledge. And I feel like I was running the marathon in law school, and then I started riding a bike. Let's say that's keeping up with the Dan Markell trials. And now I've kind of lost sight of the marathon and going over to riding the bike. So it's kind of, of course, you two understand, it's kind of become I don't want to say an obsession, but it kind of has, I didn't go back to law school these past 2 years because I wanted to attend the trial. And I was afraid if I was in school, I wouldn't be able to go to the trial. So that just kind of shows you how it's kind of taken over my priorities.
What? How could you not go back to law school because you're waiting for one of the trials to begin? Jeez.
Judy, it's you see where we keep up with this. Every breaking story or motion that's been filed, we're right on, and it's just kind of I've got to get my priorities back in order.
Same here.
Anyway,
Same here. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be ripping you, because I do feel like it's become like a part-time job for me to just constantly be looking at stuff, watching other YouTube channels, reading, doing research, talking to people.
That's what Fancy and I were saying, that this was like Donna's trial was like the SATs, because we were all going and live streaming at lunch and afterwards, and we both agreed it was like taking your SATs, your LSATs, whatever, like
don't say that word.
law school degree, unofficially. But, my background was in journalism. So I took some journalism classes in college. I always wanted to be a court reporter. I mean, that's kind of my, my one wish, I think, as a dream job. So this has been kind of interesting. And this morning I went to Shanna Gardner's hearing right here in Duval County. And I've been going to those hearings. And this morning, oh my gosh, you guys won't believe this. So the bailiff called me out. There was only First Coast News and News4Jax there. And it was not a big hearing at all. And they said, "Excuse me, are you with First Coast News?" I said, "No." They said, "Who are you? We've never seen you before." And I said, "I'm part of the new media." And then they kicked me out.
Oh, what?
No, it's okay. I mean, Duval hasn't had many high profile trials. They're going to learn this is a case of high interest. And I made a point to go, but then they let me back in. It's just, there's a few perks of being media. I've tried to get my media credentials. It was a big runaround. It's a huge courthouse. I have a bunch of phone numbers I called. It's very elitist towards the media. They're not acknowledging new media whatsoever. So that was kind of a learning curve, but it was interesting. I like sitting in the courtroom and seeing justice.
Well, let me ask you this. Why did they kick you out? Because isn't the court hearing supposed to be open to everybody?
Yes. Okay. So I did get to go back in, but initially during like the first 10 minutes is only for media. So that's how they do it in Duval. I probably could have gotten away with bringing a notepad, just being part of the new media. During the trial, that courtroom is very small compared to Donna's. So I have been looking into the media credentials, et cetera, because I know Carl Steinbeck wants to cover this case too, and STS. But I don't know. I don't mind just being an observer. There's a lot of people that are just like an armchair journalist, as you might call it. A lot of it's like, there's a lot of frequent commenters who come in, and there's really, it's a right of your, a citizen's right to go and show up. There was a lot of that in Donna's trial.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was really surprised that there were these people who are not YouTubers, but they would come and say hi and talk to the rest of us. And they were taking notes like crazy, like it was their job. And that guy, Jimmy McNutty, he had on this, what was it? Like some sort of like vest.
Vest, it seemed like.
Straps. Like hold up his computer.
His laptop.
His laptop was strapped to his body and he was typing like it was his job or something. But really, he's just like a trial fanatic, right?
Yeah.
And he's retired or works remotely or something like that.
His notes were so good. The questions he asked the bailiff, for example, like what the seats were numbered. I mean, you'd be surprised at the information you can get just talking to the bailiffs. They know that courtroom. They know everything. So Jimmy McNutty was great with just asking the very bold question, taking very detailed notes, because I was thinking, oh, that's good to know. That's juror 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. But I wanted to ask you guys, what did you think? What do you think of Donna's latest motion about trying to get a new trial?
I think it's BS.
And
I don't think it's going to fly, especially after talking with Katie Bogenschutz today and watching James Mentor Lawyer's commentary. So that kind of calmed me down. Katie said it could just be denied without a hearing.
Oh, good.
One thing they brought up was some of the audience in the gallery making faces or laughing. I didn't see any of that going on. Did you guys?
Unfortunately, I saw it.
You did.
Even some moments where I think people were trying to hold back. I think that there were moments, but it's just a high profile trial, and they're gonna have these incidents. I was a little bit nervous about the jurors coming out in force like they did and posting on social media. I was a little nervous. I personally was very grateful that they came forward, and if I was in my 20s, like I might have done the same thing, but at the same time with I respect how they went about it, and I don't think that Donna has a chance for any. I don't think she has a leg to stand on.
Yeah,
for a new trial now.
No. That's pretty much what Katie said. She said this is just like a pro forma type of thing that any criminal defense attorney would file, but she didn't think it's going to be granted at all.
Yeah, I think that the TikTok girl isn't getting too much flack because she's probably learning a lot. And in retrospect, she's she probably won't want to go through this again. But you know, maybe she has an interest in true crime, and maybe this could be something good for her. And I think it's great, you know, for them to talk about it. So
yeah. Well, I've really enjoyed hearing from all three of them because they all had different, slightly different things to talk about. Of course, JC was the most talkative, and it's great because typically nobody talks. So I especially enjoyed hearing all of them say that they feel strongly that Wendy was involved, and they didn't like her either.
oh gosh, yeah. And that is just even more frustrating. You know, every trial we go through this kind of holding our breath and wondering who they're going to arrest next. Who do you guys think has more evidence, Harvey or Wendy?
Oh, Wendy, of course.
Wendy, yeah.
Wendy.
Yeah.
And now she's been, you know, implicated by Rivera under oath on the stand. So how can you ignore that?
But here's the problem is that, you know, after reading Lewis's proffer interview, unfortunately, he did not have actual contact with Wendy. So his knowledge was limited to what he says Sigfredo told to him. But that is very telling and very damning that Sigfredo pointed to somebody on the street and said, there's Wendy. There's the lady we're doing the job for. The lady who wants her kids back. And then Lewis said that there was later a phone call with Katie where Katie said, oh, she was just there to make sure you're really going to get the job done or make sure it's going to go through, something like that. But of course, Katie doesn't remember it.
I think people were thinking that Katie was still in town to give a grand jury testimony. So I've requested Katie's Leon County jail records to see when she left, because a lot of people speculated that she was staying for what she knows about Wendy. So that would be interesting. And also interesting to just see Katie's jail records, what she was doing behind bars for that 2 weeks. Probably some kind of nonsense like Donna.
So is it the same person who's always handling your jail record requests?
In Leon County, I do it through a online form, and it's the same thing in Duval County, and it's the same thing in Miami, Miami-Dade, but for Wakulla, I actually email a lady who's like the admin at the jail. And it's a funny story, actually. I was emailing her. She sent me Donna's phone calls. And then one time she sent me like a supply order for the jail.
Oh.
I said, you know, I think this email has reached me in error. I'm sorry. I was like, she said, like, I need, you know, like pencils, staplers, you know, like, ooh, this is not me. But I didn't want her to feel embarrassed or then like hold it against me and not give me more records. So I was very polite and I said, I think I'm the wrong recipient, etc. Like just how I'd handle it at work, you know.
Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah, but they've been really nice to give them to me. I mean, they could charge me. They don't. I've been very lucky. I think the only thing I spent money for was Sigfredo's prison incident. Remember that, Judy?
Oh yeah, where he hit somebody on the head with some sort of metal object. Yeah.
Oops, sorry. I need to pause my video. Yeah, I just requested Shanna's incidents too, because Shanna Gardner has been getting into a lot of trouble at the Duval County Jail for cheeking and selling her medicine, trading her meds.
What? Oh.
I feel terrible even reporting it. I had reported it like buried in one of my videos, but I think I might bring it out because it's such a big deal. She made a makeshift sex toy.
Are you kidding me?
I wanted to see if you'd seen that video that I did. It's
No.
crazy. It's actually insane.
So she has the smarts and the wherewithal to figure out how to make her own sex toy in prison or jail.
And and then she also had contraband of like fishing line. So I mean, I had just breezed over it because the media had already picked up, like local media had already picked up on it, and I just wanted to verify it. But like looking back, that's ridiculous. That is, I've never heard. I mean, Donna and Charlie's incidents have been crazy, but with Shanna, they are crazier. She's getting in a lot of trouble. So this should be an interesting trial. She's just hired a new attorney. So I think you guys are going to like this.
Yes. Okay. We gotta pay attention to
the Jared Brightigan murder
content.
Rolling into next August. They've just set deadlines for their motions. January 1st, they're going to do all their witness depositions, and then they're going to try to set another deadline by April to get all of the evidence is in. It's good. It's, from what I've seen, it's very good evidence.
Is there a trial date?
The trial date is August of 2020. Okay.
Next year?
Yes. And STS and Carl Steinbeck are going to be covering it.
And Shanna Gardner, she came from a wealthy family as well.
Correct?
Very.
Okay.
Amping up the Mormon community.
Right.
Big multi-level marketing business, multi-million-dollar family.
Right.
And Jose Baez is going to be very interesting to
That's right.
see, because he's got another attorney that he just added recently. So they are professional swindlers. It'll be really interesting.
Okay.
But they all of them seem to be getting all the attorneys this morning. They were talking about football. We were talking about the Miami Dolphins. Like, there seemed to be some tension initially because the defense was trying to get the prosecutors kicked off the case, and that seems to happen a lot in these high-profile cases. But then they were all just they took a sidebar. They were talking about dates, and they seem very amicable. Is that how it is, Judy? Have you gotten along with some of your other defense?
Opposing counsel?
Opposing counsel. You don't really do criminal.
Yeah, I don't do criminal, but back when I used to work for a firm that did mostly criminal defense, the partners would say how collegial the other attorneys would be. And when I went to court with them, sometimes I was like, wow, everybody's so friendly. It's almost like a party. Everybody was like greeting each other and stuff because they're all in the same trenches dealing with the same despicable people. So it is very collegial amongst the criminal defense bar. But in terms of civil and family court, that's where I found some of the nastiest opposing counsel. But sometimes it's okay. Other times it's like, geez, these are the stereotypical, a-hole types that want to go to law school. So the people that make you hate being a lawyer, but it's few and far between. But the ones who are nasty, you definitely remember them. So.
Didn't you have a win during Donna's first week? You had posted something about celebrating. Yeah.
Well, I was celebrating the end of the saga, this 2.5-year saga of a real estate dispute case, but we still don't know the judge's decision because it turned out to be a bench trial. So we got a very young judge who's probably 32 or 33 years old, and he previously was a prosecutor. So suddenly he's thrown in superior court handling these like random civil litigation business dispute cases. So he said he needed some time to look over all the case law that we kind of threw at him and look at all the exhibits and stuff. It was a pretty long case. But we'll see what happens.
Have you learned anything about, your family law? So have you learned anything through this case that you use and implement?
Well, I learned that I'm charging way too little because Kristen Adamson was charging 600 an hour
Yeah.
back in 2013. I'm like, in Tallahassee, who charges that in a smaller southern town back in 2013?
My lawyer charges 500 an hour for my my mother's overseas affairs. So when I have to do anything, I think it depends, like the extent of your office. I mean, if she was working with Wendy, like she probably went up and up from there. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you could, or you would say go down, but like that probably gave her a little ego with this case, you know, like her being thrust into the spotlight with this case. I think, good or bad, it's unfortunate that she just kind of went to the races with it and was still kind of really full of herself a little bit.
Which one, Kristen Adamson or the expert?
Kristen Adams both. I mean, what you were in the courtroom, what was the sense of everyone around when she was on this stand?
Well, now I don't have all my little detailed notes with me, but I kind of feel like Kristen Adamson came across better than Linda Bailey because it was so obvious that Bailey was like a paid person to go up there and say something that was supposedly going to help Donna. So, but I do recall multiple times looking at the jurors, and I was really impressed with how attentive they were. They all seemed very serious and taking it seriously. And there was a sort of slightly older woman sitting at the far end, so I could see her the best. And she was constantly writing in a notebook.
I remember her.
Yeah. So
You
that's good.
About Harley.
Great.
Oh, I'm trying to remember the marital attorney that she said, you know, $80,000. It depends on who you are. If that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's Linda Bailey.
Okay, yeah, that kind of rubbed people the wrong way, or
yeah,
yeah. I mean, to say the least, Donna just didn't have a defense. She was just throwing anything and everything at the wall. It seemed, you know, so there was no alibi, or so I don't know where she was going with all these witnesses.
I couldn't believe there was no defense, no explanation of the double extortion or anything. And I thought that maybe Jackie Fulford had the jury's attention a little bit with her accent, because Zellman was just bombing, kind of. And I think Zellman sensed it, that he was kind of mansplaining a little bit. And then Jackie, I really sensed through the jail records that I've seen of the phone calls, Jackie and Donna were so tight. Donna did not speak to Josh Zellman at all in jail. So her and Jackie talked almost every single day up until the verdict. And after the verdict, they only talked for 2 hours. So until I'm sure Donna's been transferred back to Wakulla so she can use her tablet. But her and Jackie were probably coming up with which witnesses they wanted to talk to, and Donna felt more comfortable with Jackie, which is why I think Jackie was like the primary lawyer on this case, which was, I think, a surprise to us all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the connection that the jurors had with Jackie. I think they kind of thought that she was trying to play them, you know.
Yeah, not after like the first or second day. I think they were not buying it. They didn't like her. The few things she said just did not land. I can't think of specifically what it was, but just not very well thought out.
Well, I was there the day she came with that comment. She said something, and then I guess she said something kind of fast, and she said, "Oh, I need to slow down, or the court reporter, she's gonna shoot me." And I just thought, man,
I was like, what the heck? What a weird person.
Trial.
That was it. And I mean, I think even if she made that kind of gaffe or slip, I think that could have even been forgivable if she wasn't such like a fumble bunny, if she kind of got her act together and got on a roll. But it was just so hard. I don't think anyone could have competed with the prosecutor's office. They were like a well-oiled machine, like
Right.
you know, Georgia, and then the FBI, the Tallahassee Police Department would be coming in and bringing them all their evidence and binders. They were so organized and excited. I think they had like an enthusiasm about it. You know, they've been waiting for this moment, and they nailed it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, getting back to what Harley said before about Donna's allegations now that people sitting out there were laughing or making faces and stuff. Well, there was one time I recall that some people gave a little bit of laughter, but I can't remember exactly when or what was going on. So, but the judge definitely did at least once, maybe multiple times, come out and address everybody and tell people not to give any sort of facial gestures or make any noises or nod heads or indicate anything.
Well, how many people were thrown out while you guys were there for their cell phones going off? I think 3 that I counted. Yeah. They were watching that like a hawk.
Yes.
That one bailiff.
Yeah, there was, I think, one man and somebody, I can't remember if it was Patty or someone else, said that this guy was kind of a jerk because he was trying to tell people to get out of his seat, you know, as if you could save your seat when you leave.
Yeah.
That's how territorial some people were.
I was glad most people weren't doing that. We weren't supposed to leave a sweater or a butt pad anymore. Some people were doing that. Some days were a little intense where people really wanted to be there. But I mean, if people wanted to be there, all you had to do is just line up at the door and there were enough seats, except for Wendy's morning testimony where we were sitting outside, you know.
Oh, yeah, because there was one time you couldn't get in, right? Was it then?
That was the first day, which I even booked an extra hotel night. That was Sunday night to get there early. And I would suggest absolutely getting there an hour beforehand if it's a big day like that. And no matter what the judge says, sometimes getting there like 8 a.m. on a big trial, the first or second day of a big trial, I learned my lesson for sure.
Mm-hmm. And that's why one of those days I just gave up. I was like, I'm not going to get out there at 8:15 in the morning and just stand around hoping to get a seat. So that's why I felt like if you want to get a good seat, you should just go there in the afternoon after lunch, because that's when there are fewer people. And Mia wants to know, what's a butt pad? Why would I need one? Harley, do you want to show your butt pad?
Yeah, I mean, those I told people I thought those benches are made out of petrified oak or something. That's the hard. Yeah, I didn't take this, but it was just a joke. I told, if you do go to take like a gardening thing, I guess that if you're gardening, you kneel down on it or whatever. But yeah, take something like that. That's torture sitting on those benches.
You know what's funny? I was texting Katie Kool-Lady, and I told her, I said, you know, people are bringing their butt pads. They're leaving them on the benches to try to save their seat. She's like, butt pad? I don't need a butt pad. I've got a built-in butt pad.
Nah.
We were laughing. But, you know, it didn't bother me. I guess, like, I've been doing lots of squats or something, but, like, not until, like, the 8th hour where I was like, whoa, it would be nice to have one. It would just be something nice.
Yeah, right.
It's a long day, and they're very hard seats.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why you didn't come back the next week, right, Susan? Because it was too exhausting for you.
I really had like a physical and emotional fatigue. I mean, this is not my industry. I mean, I felt in Charlie's trial, I got kind of like emotional because the drama was really getting to me of seeing him on the stand lying. And I was like, I don't think I can go through Donna lying again. And I really felt fatigued. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was enough, I think, by the fourth day. And I think even some of the correspondence from 2020, 48 hours. Now, Chucha from 2020 sat in the courtroom the entire time. So shout out to Chucha, Barber.
Who's that?
The local 2020 correspondent, Chucha, was there every single day, morning and day session. But then the other guy, I believe, Keith Morris from Dateline, he was staying at the hotel I was staying at. I got to meet him and his wife. I saw him maybe like half of the trial, kind of, he got the gist of it, and then they'll take notes from watching it online,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Judy, kind of the same thing with me. I told you when I got back home, of course, I had my mother's health thing we were dealing with, but somehow or another, I got the worst back spasm. And that's the only thing I can think is from sitting on those benches for, hours on end. But that was another reason why I wasn't able to come back for the final days of the trial. But anyway, yeah, sitting in the courtroom will take a toll on you, or it did me at least.
Yeah. And plus you also had sort of a long drive from Mississippi too.
Right, yeah,
so that's just terrible when you have some sort of pre-existing back issues too.
Yeah.
Well, this is Gary, who was on my live stream show pretty recently. He was also there with his wife to watch the trial, and he lives in Connecticut. So Gary is saying he's curious exactly when Susan saw the reactions from people in the gallery. I was there when Bailey testified. There was very brief laughter when Zelman asked to approach, and Everett said no.
Oh, yeah. I saw the reactions from the gallery. I believe probably people are not aware that they're doing it, especially during Wendy's testimony, and certain times some of it's so explosive that it's really, really hard to realize you're doing it. But I mean, I don't want to call out names, but it happens to the best of us. But it's definitely something that if I'm going to sit in the courtroom, it's definitely something that I think most of us need to work on. But it happens. Sometimes an audible gasp, you just can't believe what you're hearing. So but I think the bailiffs were very good about catching it. And I think people, as long as they're not whispering and murmuring, and it gets caught on camera.
I did see. I remember that vaguely. That was the last week of the trial. But what led up to that, I forget. When Judge Everett told Zelman that he couldn't approach, was he joking, or what? What led up to that?
It was a heated exchange about Jeffrey Lacasse bringing up whether the children could remember the children had memories past age 3. Right. Okay. And then that actually was a heated moment in the courtroom for sure, where I understand what Donna's defense was trying to block, but we were surprised how aggressive Zelman was, and almost kind of disrespectful to Judge Everett a little.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did not go over well. I remember that.
Yeah, I have to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on that point, I do feel like, boy, I would like to go back and rewatch some parts of the trial too. Like Wendy, especially Lacasse.
I forget what they were saying. I think Joe Patuto on Surviving the Survivor said that that's going to be very interesting evidence towards Wendy when they talk about why she was asking about childhood memories for the kids. There was so many little nuggets with Jeffrey Lacoste that were new evidence towards Wendy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can expect her to lie, just like she lied and said she never talked to Jeff about Charlie looking into hiring a hitman. You know, she'll just lie and say that never happened. Never happened.
But you know,
no.
The jurors seemed so fixed on Jeffrey Lacoste. Were you there, Harley, during that testimony?
No, I actually missed. I wasn't in the courtroom. I watched it on YouTube, of course, so I couldn't see the jury's reactions. But
yeah, he seemed to be very credible to the jurors. I was glad that Jeffrey seemed like he did a great job just relaying the information, and he was a great witness. And I told him that in the hallway. He was talking to people, and I think he appreciates the support that our channels give him, because this has been very difficult for his life, I'm sure. And I talked to some local people. A lot of the word on the street in Tallahassee is that it's kind of obvious that she was trying to set him up. I talked to a lot of local people have felt this way for years.
Sure.
Good. Well, how did you come to talk to him? Did you just go right up to him and introduce yourself?
Yeah, kind of. The witnesses were, they're kind of in the hallway as you come out of the courtroom, and it's hard to get to them because they're usually talking to somebody. It's kind of like, if you have a moment, why not say something? So I said, great. I said, you did a great job up there, because I know he's been nervous, understandably nervous, when last Charlie's trial, Wendy was there. So Wendy had already left. He was a lot more relaxed. And then I also told Pat Sanford, I had a moment to tell Pat Sanford that I really admire and respect the work that he's done on this case. And I was glad I got the chance to tell him that, because I don't think it's over yet.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, how did Jeff and Pat Sanford react when you went over there to talk to them?
I think they don't hear it often enough from us. But they're not as accessible as we are back, in the gallery or in the hallways, but like they're usually rushing to get evidence, or the witnesses are just like breezed right off. I didn't get a chance to say anything to anyone else except Harvey. I said, like, did you fly or drive here?
Yeah.
I really wanted to, and now we know the answer. He flew.
Well, I wound up in the elevator with him, Sarah, the next day, and I kept my mouth shut because I was afraid to say hi or anything to him after what he told you.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
Joel no point.
Action. Like, Joel said he gave him the evil eye, and he did the same thing to me. So yeah.
Oh, so Harvey gave Joel the evil eye because he's seen the show. I'm sure he's known about it.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I have a video about Harvey's Brickell apartment. My video went viral during the trial because I think a lot of people were Googling Harvey, and you have some great videos about Harvey too, Judy. And I mean, I was just glad that people could, sorry.
Uh-oh. What's going on?
I just got a phone call.
Oh,
okay. So, I was glad people were able to see the evidence now.
Yeah.
Well, I told you I wound up running into Ryan Fitzpatrick out on the crosswalk. And
that's right. Tell us about it.
Like 3 blocks away from the courthouse.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Kind of looked at him, and when I recognized who it was,
Let's
I just
see.
automatically started laughing. I don't know why. It was a natural reaction. I guess seeing him in person, I thought he was this huge, like, bodybuilder guy. He's actually kind of tiny, I guess, compared to me. But anyway, so I started laughing, and he was going across the street, and he turned around and looked at me, and I said, "Well, I think I know you." And I said, "You're Ryan, right?" And he said, "Yeah." And he came up to me and shook my hand, and
Oops.
he was really nice to me. He was really cool. He was just talking about how the flight, they have direct flight now from Miami to Tallahassee, but he got in real late and was tired and everything. So he was really nice to me. So that's what I've got to say about Ryan.
Oh, that's great. Well, did you thank him or say anything nice to him?
I just
Sorry.
not really. I just told him it was nice to meet him and everything. And we were just talking, like I said, about the flight. At least they have a direct flight now, but still,
Yeah.
I guess he got stuck in the airport and got in to his hotel real late or whatever. But anyway, he was real nice, real cordial with me. So
okay.
That was pretty neat.
That's good to hear. Well, we'll remove Susan until she can come back then. Something must have happened with her camera.
It usually happens. It's right in the middle of a live stream is when people start calling or knocking on doors or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
well, we'll have to ask Susan about the jail calls because sometimes people are rude to her on her channel and they say,
No.
"Oh, it's just clickbait. I thought I was going to hear the actual jail calls." Well, I don't know when they're going to be released, but that's something else that we YouTubers can be doing next week is just to try to contact these places because a long time ago, I did try to contact the South Dakota prison to see if I could get records or jail calls on Charlie, and they just totally ignored me. So I guess I could have been more aggressive and made phone calls and followed up and stuff. But somebody mentioned that South Dakota or prisons usually are less likely to divulge that type of information.
Right.
So, but they could have at least responded to me.
I
I
guess
told
that's
them
one
I
good
have
thing.
a YouTube
Florida
channel.
Florida has the sun. Is it the sunshine law?
Sunshine.
I'm not getting audio.
Right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're back on. You're good.
Can you hear us?
I'm not hearing you guys. I better say goodbye.
Oh, maybe you need
But I'll be
earplugs.
getting Katie's records soon. All right.
Okay.
I'll have to sign off.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Oh,
Sarah.
too bad. Okay, technical problems here. Well, it's almost been an hour anyway. So, yeah, it's great because I met Susan at Charlie's trial, and then I also met Harley at Charlie's trial. But then this time around, they went the week before I did, so I didn't get to see them in person. But it's great to have met you guys through this whole Dan Markel saga to find out.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll probably get to meet again at Wendy's trial.
Yeah. You know what? Dave Ehrenberg and Katie Bogenschutz, they both said that they feel like there's a 95% chance that
definitely.
Wendy's going to be arrested. Yeah,
definitely. And the investigators, they're still doing their job. So I would definitely look forward to Wendy being indicted pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, Lolly. They need an arena for Wendy's trial. I can totally see that, people fighting for seats and getting territorial. Yeah.
In that case, I think what they would actually do is open another courtroom and have a live feed, on a monitor. I think that's how that works.
That would be nice, but it's not the same if you traveled all the way to Tallahassee to try to watch it in person.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Cupcake. Great discussion and insights. Love your content. Miss Judy. Why do they keep calling me Miss Judy? I think that was because Ryan Fitzpatrick first started calling me Miss Judy. I'm like, that's like what little kids call their teachers and adults in the South. But it sounds funny to be called that. Yeah. Oh, Harley, do you want to tell people who your father is? Because you didn't mention it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. My father, he's a United States District Court judge, so he's a federal judge in the Northern District of Mississippi. So I pretty much grew up around the courtroom and around a bunch of legal books. So I guess it's kind of in my blood, I guess. So it's something that excites me, things like this. So.
Mhm. Well, did you grow up hearing your father telling you about all sorts of criminal cases?
Judy, he was a prosecutor before he became a judge, and he told me, he never got on board with this. A murder trial is kind of a big deal, but it's almost like Georgia was explaining, for an attorney dealing with a divorce, it's probably not a big deal. You deal with it every day. But my dad said he had tried in his as a prosecutor 72 murder trials. 72.
Wow,
So,
that's crazy.
yeah. So I guess it's just not a huge deal to a prosecutor, but yeah, I grew up going to some of his trials and listening to some of the bigger trials that he had. So that was just kind of a lifestyle for me.
Mhm. Well, did you ever feel like your family was in danger because of your father's job?
There have been several incidents, but it never turned into anything. So, but
Mm.
yeah, the United States Marshals are who's in charge of the protection for the federal judges and their families. So we've really never we might have, I think maybe 20 years ago there was a threat that was made, a phone call or something, but that never came into fruition. It was
Mhm.
pretty much, but other than that, I can't think of anything specifically.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Well, what do you think of Tallahassee? Is it pretty similar
Yeah,
to
I don't
where you've
understand this.
lived?
I don't understand the problem that Wendy and uh, Charlie, I guess on one of Charlie's wiretaps, he called it a Tallahassee a S-hole
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Like, aren't you glad
yeah,
you're out of the shithole town? Yeah.
yeah, and of course I'm from the South, and I guess people were known, for Southern hospitality. But it just seemed like Tallahassee. I didn't run into one unhappy person down there. All the hotel staff were extremely accommodating, nice. All the people, just the general public was very nice. I don't know what their problem was with with Tallahassee. I had a good experience, so
Yeah.
it was a nice place to visit, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's right. Like whenever Patty and I needed help finding a place or finding directions, having someone take our picture,
Mm-hmm.
all these random strangers would just help us and be all friendly and stuff. So I was like,
Yeah.
what a bunch of nice
Well,
people here.
one thing, and I'll just say this because it was notable. It's something worth saying. Is a couple of days I had to go down in my I drove down in my truck, which it's a big like Super Duty truck, so I couldn't park in the parking garage. So I had to park out on the street where the parking meters were. And when I got ready to get into my truck, the whole lane of traffic would stop, and make a hole for me to come through and get in my truck and then crank up and leave. And I mean, that's just kind of unusual that people would go through the trouble of doing that. So
Yeah.
anyway, that was kind of neat that happened.
Mhm.
And that happened on several days. So I guess it's just kind of a customary thing to do there, maybe.
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
nice. Yeah. It definitely reminded me of Albany, Georgia, which is where I spent half my childhood in
Mm-hmm.
South Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like sleepy with all these trees with moss and these older buildings and small little offices and
Yeah, quaint.
lots of
That's quaint.
trees. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we enjoyed our time in Tallahassee. So seems like Dan liked living there also. So
Oh, one kind of funny thing is I had planned to go back the next week, the final week of the trial, and I told you I just had back pain and then my mother's issue. But the
yeah.
hotel that I stayed in the second week that I was down there, I could not get a room for that third week. And so I got to searching, and I found a room at the Clarion off of I-10.
Mhm.
And I was locked into going there. And then, of course, I decided, no, I can't go. I just can't make this drive because of my back issue. And come to find out that Clarion is the roadway. It's been remodeled and turned into the Clarion. And now, isn't the roadway where Luis and Sigfredo and
Oh,
Shadrick stayed
yeah.
at?
Yeah, that
So I
was one of
thought
the
I could have,
places.
I
Yeah.
almost wound up in that same building, not the same
Oh,
hotel,
gross.
but I thought, man, how eerie would that be to find that
Yeah.
out after the fact?
Yeah, well, hopefully they've totally renovated the place
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
I hope so.
remember reading the Google reviews of those two motels and it was
Mhm.
just like disgusting sounding.
Right, right, right.
Like bed sheets that were stained and
Oh, I'm
roaches
sure. Yeah.
scurrying and yeah, totally filthy, disgusting place. Yeah.
But
So, well,
that would have been
Smolcat
eerie.
has a question. What are the functions that tablets have? Well, I recall they get to watch movies and they can listen to music, and I think they can access the prison email system. So, as far as I know, I don't think they can watch YouTube, but they do have some like pre selected movies and music, probably games too.
And phone calls, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One thing, my mom, she's keeping up with the trial a little bit more now, or the trials, but she wanted me to ask, when did the prosecution, I remember Reichbaum gave Donna's planner to the prosecution, correct? Or to the investigators.
Yeah.
Was that before or after Donna's trial? I'm sorry,
Before.
Charlie's trial.
Oh, that I'm not sure. Yeah, I have no idea.
That's one of the questions that she wanted me to ask, and I didn't know either. I can't remember. I
Yeah.
do remember Reichbaum voluntarily gave it to the investigators, but was that before or after Charlie's trial? And because the license plate didn't come up until Donna's trial.
Yeah. So probably after then, since he was still representing Donna for a while.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
yeah. But Mentor Lawyer says he does have a copy of that calendar notebook planner thing.
Mhm.
So when he finally does some live stream shows about it, I'm sure you can ask him.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And have you seen Isom's interview yet?
I watched that probably about 1 o'clock in the morning. I think I just watched half of it, and it fell asleep. But yeah, I watched at least half of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm still hopeful Quinty is going to get arrested. So hopefully that's not a sign of anything that Isom decided to go on Mentor Lawyer's show.
But I guess what my mother, what she wanted to prove is, there was things that as far as the license plate, there are things that the investigators probably have on Wendy that we don't know about.
Of
That will
course.
come out during the trial. Yeah. So everybody hang tight. And I feel confident the investigators are doing their job, and they've probably got a lot of stuff on Wendy that we have no clue about
Mhm.
that will come out during her trial. So
Yeah.
just have faith in that.
Yeah. I did want to share this little Word document that I showed when Misha, Janice, and I had a live stream this past
Right. Yeah,
week.
that was a
Yeah.
really good live stream.
And I totally forgot this, but thanks to Jay for mentioning it, that according to Lacasse, Wendy took down the kids' drawings off the walls just what was it, just a couple of days before Dan was killed?
Right. And another thing, I don't mean to interrupt you, Judy, but I'm hearing that she already had the moving company planned because it was on a weekend, right?
Really?
The movie, I've heard that from several people. I can't go back and pinpoint where, but because the moving company is typically not going to work on the weekend, correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure they do work on weekends because a lot of
Probably.
times people work on weekends.
But
Yeah.
how far in advance would you have to plan that with them?
Yeah, probably at least a couple of weeks.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they were there that weekend. So I've just heard that, and that could be speculation, but that's just something to take into account. But I'm
Well,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no. From what I heard, well, of course, Wendy says she just packed a couple of backpacks and essentials because she was so afraid that the killers were going to come after her and her kids.
Yeah, how
So,
ridiculous. But
yeah.
anyway, yeah.
And I think, wasn't it Fancy who reported that there was this male teacher that was good friends with Wendy and Charlie who actually helped Wendy with moving more of her stuff?
I haven't heard that. I haven't
Okay.
heard that.
Yeah, it's been a while, so sometimes it's like hard to tell. Like, where did I hear that? Or
Exactly.
is that
That's
true?
the same
I
thing
don't
with the
know.
moving company. You know, I've heard so much stuff that it all jumbles together. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, what's this? Jeff Lacaze's interview makes him sound crazy. A good lawyer would destroy him. Well, I don't think he can be destroyed, but it is true that the first time he went in there, he didn't say as much bad stuff against Wendy. It wasn't until, what was it, the second and third interviews that he started suspecting Wendy.
yeah, of course, Jeff was still love struck, I guess, when he went in for the first interview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you guys think about the disorganization of how the defense brought their witnesses into the courtroom? Was Harvey retrieving them? Seems unprofessional. I don't think Harvey was retrieving them, but I thought that was sloppy when the realtor came in and just sat in the back listening.
Right, yeah.
And it wasn't until later that the defense realized that they had this witness who had just walked in, and he really shouldn't have been allowed to sit back there.
Right. And typically the paralegal, you know, would catch something like that. You know, I would assume that would be part of her job is to try to keep an eye on the courtroom while the attorneys are doing their things. But she totally, she let that slip. Or that's what I thought. That's what I've always heard. Is a paralegal is kind of keeps an eye on the gallery and the things that are going on in the courtroom if they attend the trial, which this paralegal, she was basically there just hugging on Donna.
Yeah,
basically.
that's what I was going to say. The paralegal was just there like an emotional support pet, you know.
And I guess that was to play into the jury, maybe, that this old lady has to, you know, this old feeble lady has to have somebody warm and comfort her or something. It was all sham. I mean, dressing her the way they did, that was brought up in the Menendez, trials that the attorneys, you know, admitted that they dressed the boys in the pastel colored sweaters.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I thought Donna would similarly be wearing a pastel colored sweater, because a sweater is more huggable than this like sharp kind of.
She got close.
Scratchy.
One day she had a pullover, didn't like a knitted pullover or a blue sweater, it seemed.
Yeah, I think the blue thing was a cardigan though.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. What's this? Oh yeah. Okay, we answered that. Thank you. Yeah. Let's see. Let's scroll down and see if there's any questions here. Sorry, we probably do have to wrap up, and I'm so sorry that Susan had some sort of technical difficulties. Oh, yeah, I was supposed to go skating again today, but there wasn't enough time, so maybe I'll go skate tomorrow because I have an adult international skating competition coming up in DC next month. So that's something else to do now that this case is over. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Susan.
Oh, hi guys. Okay.
Okay. So just running through some more. Okay. Thank you. Some people really, really hate him. Other people really, really like him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? You seem to still be watching when Vince is one of the guests.
Who are we talking about now?
What? Loophole Lawyer.
Oh yeah, I watch it just to watch it. So I don't know what to make of those lives. Please, God, don't put him on with Susan.
Okay.
I can't imagine where that would go.
Yeah, we wouldn't be sticking on topic, that's for sure. Yeah. Okay. The rumor, yeah, I think that's just a rumor that, these days he does seem to think that Wendy was involved and he's disgusted with what happened. You guys can watch his interviews on Deep Dive True Crime. He's actually premiering the part 2 of the interview right now, I think. So I was like, darn, too bad we're totally conflicting with the times. Yeah. Okay. How could they still be collecting evidence? Well, who knows? Maybe they're still talking to people behind the scenes. For example, Sarah Yusuf was kind of a big surprise because she was a friend and support her for several years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And take into account that there might be things incriminating Wendy that we don't know about, and they were not brought up during the trial because of Wendy's immunity. Take that into account too.
Mhm. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I think I'll just scroll all the way down. Okay, thank you. Okay, he cracks you up. I think he's harmless and enjoys stirring the pot. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, I was telling him he should come to Donna's trial. So if there is a Wendy trial, maybe he'll show up to that. Yeah. Yeah, we should have a legal comedy hour. Yeah, we're working behind the scenes. I just feel so overwhelmed now because of work stuff. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I can't hate him because he's coming back as a guest again on Tuesday. And I've said this before, it is so hard to get good guests on a live stream show, especially if you're not a big YouTube channel. So, it's just very time consuming to constantly try to reach out to strangers and do all the back and forth phone calls and emails. And then sometimes people flake out or change their minds, which is very frustrating. So I'm grateful that he's willing to come on a regular basis. So,
well, speaking on that, Judy, how much did I miss of the live before I got on?
Oh, very little.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was in the studio waiting, and apparently I didn't notice that I had to press the enter, so that's my fault.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. We didn't wait too long because we started late too. Yeah. So how's your rotator cuff? Do you have rotator cuff?
Yeah,
problems?
I thought it was. I thought it could be my rotator cuff. We're going back to the pain that I had, but I think now it was a pinched nerve probably, because after about 3 days it just went away. So I'm thinking it was probably a pinched nerve, and it could have led back to sitting on those hard seats, for hours on end. That's the only thing I can think that caused that. But I was I thought it might be a rotator cuff tear. That's what it felt like, because the pain was going from my neck down my shoulder, down my arm, down my back. But anyway, I'm over it now, so I'm back 100%. But thanks for asking about that.
Okay. Yeah. And when we're all feeling achy and horrible sitting there, it does make me feel so sorry for Dan Markel's parents because they're at least 80 years old now.
Yes. Now, Tamara Demko, was she there when you were there?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
I
she
saw
was
her.
there the second week, and I'll bring this up because it was notable to me. I saw Phil Markel, there in the in the gallery. And of course he's sad, he's sad to be there. But when he saw Tamara, I did see him noticeably smile. So that was kind of neat to see.
Yeah.
That was really neat.
Because she's become, as far as I know, she's close friends with Dan's parents, and I think they probably knew her even before Dan passed away
Mhm.
too. So she
But
was
that was a
there.
nice thing to see.
Yeah, great to see Dan's friends who were there to
Mhm.
support his family. Yeah, I saw Karen Cyphers was there. I saw her on the screen and stuff, and she's been such a important figure in this whole Justice for Dan Markell movement, and she helped spearhead the Markell Act and has also become good friends with Dan's parents and sister, I think.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the next thing we have to do tonight is watch the rest of the ISOM interviews. Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. Yeah. I don't have any recent figure skating videos, but, if I do well next month, I'll put it on my skating channel. So, which is Live to Skate Figure Skating and Travel. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That was just terrible. I'm so glad she wasn't so seriously injured that she could still be there during the trial with her sunglasses on, because she had huge bruises on her face. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. It's been over
Okay.
an hour. You have any closing remarks?
I just like Georgia said, stay tuned. I'm counting on Wendy. In all reality, I'm counting on her probably be within the next 6 months. Wouldn't you kind of predict that timeline?
Yeah. Katie Bogenschutz, the Tallahassee attorney, and I were talking today, and she said if it doesn't happen by the end of the year, then we would probably give up on Wendy getting arrested, because it's
Mhm.
got to happen within the next few months.
Mhm.
And I agree. So,
Yeah, all the legal minds that we've spoken with, are in the 90% range that she's probably going to be indicted. What the charges are going to be are the next thing to discuss. But I would definitely look forward to that happening.
yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, and hopefully you'll come back if we have
Oh, yeah.
something else to discuss, and have to figure out what else to fill our time with also. So
Okay.
yeah, it's great to see you. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh, yeah.
Also.
That
Yeah.
being on those hard benches really took a toll. So people
Yeah.
don't realize that, I guess. But
Yeah, it's miserable actually being a trial watcher in person. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Well, hope you have a great weekend. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you,
Good to see everybody
everybody.
again.
Take care. See you
Okay.
next.
Thanks, you.
Saturday, 5:00 Eastern. I have a members only live stream. So if people are members, please feel free to join in, and I'll probably post a link if people actually want to show their faces on the screen. So if I don't see you guys Saturday, we'll see you Tuesday with Loophole Lawyer. So thank you.
All right. Good to see everybody.
Okay,
Thanks.
take care. Have a great
Mhm.
weekend.
All
Bye.
right.